everybody. Thanks for joining us today. I'm here with Angie Sheldon, and we are going to go over packing your backpack for your next adventure. If you have any questions, please feel free to write them in the comments, and I'll try to relay them over to Angie, and if we miss anything, we'll get back to you once we post the video. All right, thanks so much.
Hi, thanks for joining us this afternoon. So, as Margaret said, my name is Angie. We're going to be talking about how to pack your backpack, but I thought before I dive into putting all this gear in my pack here, I just wanted to quickly run through the typical essentials that you would bring on a backpacking trip and kind of show you what I have. So to start, over here I've got my tent, my sleeping bag, and my sleeping pad. So kind of my sleep system here. Next up, besides where I'm going to sleep, the next important thing for me is what I'm going to eat while I'm out backpacking. So here is my food bag, my little camp kitchen here for backpacking. So I've got my stove. I'm a coffee and tea drinker, so I bring, this is one of my comfort items backpacking, a little titanium mug. And what's nice about my pot is that it fits my stove inside of it. So I've got my windscreen, my alcohol stove, fuel source, and my pot grips. And then of course I've got my fuel here. And when I'm using denatured alcohol, I'm sure to label it just so I don't get it confused with my water bottle. But that all packs up nicely in my pot. I also bring along, I do a lot of freezer bag cooking, so this is my freezer bag koozie that I like to carry. It cooks, rehydrates my food a lot quicker. And it can also double as a little seat if I need to take a break on a wet trail. So that's kind of my kitchen setup. Next I've got my water. So I carry a water bladder, usually about 2 liters, in the back of my backpack. I'll show you how I pack that here shortly. But I also like to have a water bottle with me too. That way if I were to drain my water bladder because I can't really see it, I've got a little backup. This would also come in handy if I wanted to mix in like a powdered drink or something that I don't want to necessarily put in my water bladder. It's also handy for measuring things here on the side. I often bring a water bag as well, so if I'm going down to a water source, I can scoop up lots of water to filter once I'm back at camp. So that's kind of a nice little comfort item for me as well. And of course some way to treat my water. So here I've got my water filter. I often use Aquamira or some kind of chemical treatment depending on the trip I'm going on. Next up is kind of a bunch of miscellaneous things here. So part of that is my first aid kit, duct tape. You can never have too much duct tape on a backpacking trip. This is my rope. I carry about 50 feet of P-cord and some carabiners to hang my food. So I make sure that my food is stored in a bag that's easily able to hang in a tree to protect it from bears and other critters. I've got my Toiletries bag, so this has got my personal items in here. I have my toothpaste, my toothbrush, some lotion, personal items if you wear contacts or have medication or anything like that. You want to be sure to bring that along with you. My pocket knife that could come in handy for lots of purposes. My headlamp. And of course, if you're bringing a headlamp or anything that you're bringing along with you operates off batteries, it's always a good idea to carry backup. So this is my little random stash of backup batteries and also my fire starting kit. So I've got some matches. I have an Esbit tablet in here that I use. Sometimes I'll bring a little Vaseline cotton ball or something to help me start a fire if I needed it. So that's here. And then of course now I'll have my cell phone with me. I use it mostly for photos. I'll keep it in airplane mode, but if I'm on an extended trip, I might bring a battery pack too to keep it charged throughout. I've got my wallet. Sometimes I'll use this little still nylon wallet. It's nice and kind of semi-water protecting. Or sometimes I'll just use a little Ziploc bag. But in this, I just carry my credit card, my driver's license, my health insurance card, and sometimes a little bit of cash. But I don't need to bring my whole wallet out. A map and compass of wherever I'm headed. Looks like today I'm going to Mount Rogers. That sounds really nice. And I'll bring some way to keep my pack dry. So this is a pack cover. It'll go on the outside of my pack to protect it from the weather. Sometimes I'll even just use a trash bag and line the inside of my pack, but the goal is for the stuff inside that I don't want to get wet, like clothes or my sleeping bag, to keep those protected. This one's nice because it's bright orange too, so during hunting season, depending on where I'm backpacking, or if I know I'm going to be doing lots of road crossings or even hiking on the street at all, it's a good way to be visible. I also have my bathroom bag here. So in my bathroom bag I carry some wipes, a little trowel, toilet paper, some extra baggies to carry out my toilet paper, and of course hand sanitizer. So that's convenient to have. And then I've got my clothes. So the saying is cotton is rotten when you're in the backcountry or doing anything active, right? So wearing synthetic clothes can be really good to help wick away moisture. So I've got a base layer, and then I kind of build up to a longer sleeve, and then kind of this thicker midweight layer. And I really try to only bring one of everything. So even if I'm out for a week at a time, you know, you're going to smell even if you have 3 shirts. So you really only need one of everything, except I bring 2 pairs of underwear and 2 pairs of socks so that I can alternate and wash if needed. Since it's a little cooler right now, if I were headed out, I would bring my down jacket. If it was a little bit warmer, I might just have a fleece as kind of my warmth layer. I always bring a hat and gloves because at night it can get chilly, even in the summer. And then my final layer is that weather layer to really protect me from the elements. So I'm a big fan of rain pants. Not everyone brings rain pants, but I like them. And my rain jacket here. And then again, depending on what makes you comfortable while backpacking, I'm a big fan of bringing some comfortable shoes to get out of my hiking shoes at the end of the day. So these are my camp shoes. So that's kind of all my gear here that I'm going to need to go backpacking. And so when we talk about how to pack this in my pack, we like to use the acronym CBS, which means Conveniently Balanced System. So convenient means I want to make sure anything I want access to throughout the day is easy for me to get to. For example, if it starts raining, I don't want to have to completely unpack everything in my pack to get to my raincoat that's at the bottom, and in the process getting other layers and things wet. If I want a quick snack, I want to be able to get to that maybe without digging out the whole food bag. So as you're laying out your gear and getting ready to pack it, I kind of separate things that I want quick access to, and I'll put them near the top of my pack. So for starters, my bathroom kit I always want to be accessible. I'm going to pull out a snack for today to have easily accessible again, so I don't have to pull out this whole food bag, which can be really handy. I'm going to make sure that my map and compass are accessible. My water filter is something I don't want to really have to dig for. And my phone, I think. Those are kind of my key items. Depending on time of year and where you're going and what you're doing, you might have your sunscreen really handy. I've already put some on, so I don't feel like I'll need to relayer right away. So that's kind of a good look over. And my raincoat. You never know, especially here in Ohio, right? It's always a good chance of rain. So I want to keep that towards the top of my pack. Again, depending on weather and what your day looks like, you may keep an extra layer close to the top of your pack if you know it might cool off. I tend to start hiking with extra layers, so probably in 5 minutes down the trail I'll be taking off one layer and leaving that towards the top of my pack so that I can kind of get that out and use it as I need it. So you can see things are kind of well in their little systems here. When you're packing up, we'll talk about balance, the B that I mentioned, as far as weight distribution throughout your pack here as I start packing. But the last letter I talked about, S, is system. So system means just having good organization so that when I pack up every morning of my trip, I know exactly where things go and I can do it really quick, especially if I'm packing up in the rain. If I stop and take a break and take a few things out of my pack, I can quickly pack it back up and recognize if something is missing so I don't leave it a couple miles behind and I don't realize till camp that I left my food bag at that last break. So everything kind of has its home. And you'll see as I pack up, you'll have different gear, you'll have a different bag than me, so your system might look a little different, but the goal is to create a system. So it might take you a few trips or a few times packing to figure out what that looks like for you. But the goal is to kind of minimize empty space in your pack, keep things together and in good system. So I use some stuff sacks. So these are handy to collect lots of items. So you can see I've got a lot of miscellaneous stuff floating around here. Some people might choose to leave this all in its separate bags or separate little pieces and shove it down in empty pockets of their pack, which can be handy. I like to put it all in one stuff sack. I call this my sanity sack. So I've got all my kind of miscellaneous items that I don't need necessarily right away, and I know exactly where they are when I need to find them. So this is handy for me. If you are someone that doesn't want to, invest in stuff sacks, other great options for putting gear or things together are just trash bags. These work great. They're waterproof. Ziploc bags, especially if you get the freezer ones, they're a little bit more durable. Or again, stuff sacks come in all different shapes and sizes too. They can be handy for color coding things, so I know that my food is always in this greenish bag. My miscellaneous stuff is always in this red bag. So I just kind of know where things are, which makes it easy. I sometimes use this stuff sack for my clothes, but my new favorite option is just shoving it all in a big trash bag. So you can see it's kind of bulky, but the nice thing about it being in a trash bag is once I start to pack my pack, it's a little bit more malleable to move it and shove it around empty pockets and around my food bag and that sort of thing to take up a good amount of space. All right. I'm gonna move these extra bags out of the way. So to start with, on my pack, at the very bottom of your pack is a great place to put some of the bigger, lighter weight, bulky items. I'm a fan of putting my tent at the bottom. Some people like to keep their tent towards the top, so if they get to camp and it's raining, they can quickly pull out their tent, and there's convenience to that too. Depending on your pack, some have zippers down here at the bottom where you could quickly pull out your tent even if it is at the bottom. So again, just knowing your gear and your preferences will help you kind of figure out your system. But one other thing I want to mention before I start packing is feel free to repackage things. So for example, this is my tent. It comes in this kind of oblong shape all rolled up, which is nice for storage, but not very practical for packing up every morning. And for me, it doesn't fit like I'd like it because I want it to kind of fill the bottom of my pack. So I'm going to grab, again, another trash bag. The other benefit of having your tent stored in a trash bag instead of just this nylon bag is that it's waterproof. So if I'm packing up my tent in the rain and it's soaking wet, when I put it in my bag, it's not going to get everything else in my bag wet because it's stored in this trash bag. And I'm not hassling with rolling it up or that sort of thing. So I'm going to pull out my tent stakes and poles separate, and I'm just going to shove this, again, in these trash bags. So you see how much quicker it was to shove it in that trash bag than it would have been to take it down, roll it up, and get it back in that bag here. These trash bags I have are a little bit thinner, but you can buy compactor trash bags. They're thicker and hold up a little bit for a longer trip. They make great backpacking trash bags. So again, starting with the lighter weight, kind of bulky items to build that base. You don't want heavy stuff at the bottom of your pack to just kind of sag. And it's key, if you have any of these kind of compression straps on the side of your pack, loosen them up or unbuckle them to make sure you're filling all that space. So I really want this to fill the bottom. And as we're talking about balance, I want to make sure that I'm kind of evenly distributing the weight from side to side because I don't want to be walking down the trail like this all day, right? So thinking about weight as it's balanced from side to side, and then thinking about where we're strongest, kind of right along our spine in between our shoulder blades is where we want to hold the heaviest pieces of gear that we have with us. So typically that's our food and water. If you're carrying a water bladder, most packs now will have a nice little sleeve inside of here to slide that water bladder in. And remembering to do this first or early on before you get everything else packed is very helpful. So I'm going to gonna bring my hose out here so I can actually use the bladder. And so the next thing I'm gonna put in, still got some good room on the bottom for that bulky stuff, and thinking about the convenience factor is I'm not gonna need my sleeping bag or sleeping pad until I get to camp. So I'm gonna put that at the bottom of my pack too. And really shoving things down in there to fill those gaps. We want our pack to be nice and compact. Okay, so next up, I've got kind of that good foundation of the soft, fluffy, lightweight stuff at the bottom. I'm going to focus on kind of my heavier stuff, which is my food bag. So, you know, depending on how long you're out, you're carrying 1.5 to 2 pounds of food a day. So that can quickly add up. So I'm going to put this kind of long ways along my spine in the center of the pack. So again, focusing on all that heavy stuff in your pack kind of along your spine, lightweight, fluffy stuff at the bottom, and then you're going to kind of fill the top and the outside with the kind of medium weight stuff. And that's where my clothes bag comes in handy to kind of mold it around. So I've got my food bag in there.
Trisha also mentions like having different bags for color coordinating, so gray for nighttime.
Oh, I like that.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah, it's really nice to have different bags for different uses. All right, I'm gonna use my clothes to kind of mold around here, and then I'll put some of this other stuff on top. And if you leave the trash bag open, you can kind of put your hand down in here and shove around. And I'm gonna stand up so I can do this a little better. All right. Remembering everything. Got my little sanity sack here. I put my camp shoes on last on the top. They're pretty lightweight, but wherever they'll fit. But it's nice to have those handy right when I get to camp to slip out of my shoes for the day. All right. And then depending on your pack, you may have some additional pockets or nooks and crannies to put things. So a lot of packs have this top piece compartment that's called the brain. And this is a great place to put some of those things that you want access to, again, without even having to unbuckle my pack. So not only is at the top, it's its own special pocket. So here's where I'm going to shove some of that stuff that I kept behind. My map, my compass, my bathroom bag, my phone. I might put in my pocket actually just to have it handy, but all right. And then one thing I like about this pack, it actually has this front pocket too, so it's a good spot that I can shove my rain jacket. And my water bottle, my water bag, and seat if I need it. Fit really nicely here on the outside. And again, it's just kind of getting familiar with your pack, what compartments you have, where things fit best. And my fuel, I like to, if possible, leave my fuel on the outside, or if I am putting it in my pack, I put it down lower than my food. So if for some reason it were to crack or leak, it would, you know, not leak on all of my food and ruin it. And then tent poles and stakes can slide nicely along a side. Another feature about this pack that I really like, a lot of packs have now, are these little hip pockets to put a snack in for the day. So, I mean, look at that, I already got my snack for the day, I was prepared. So again, I don't even have to take my pack off to get to that and to get to my water so that I'm hydrating and fueling my body throughout the day. And then lastly is to make this pack nice and compact is cinching down any of these compression straps that you might have along the sides of your pack. You see how it really slims it up. So if you pack your pack right and fit your pack to your body right, you can carry a surprising amount of weight and it'll feel really comfortable. So I weighed this pack this morning and it's about 27 pounds. But once it's on and fit well, it you almost don't notice it. So, and lastly, for the girls out there, this is my pee rag that I like to hang on the outside of my pack so it can get sterilized by UV rays, but it's really handy to have, especially if you're out for multiple days. So there's my pack, and again, just to review as far as where the weight's distributed, it's kind of that soft, big, fluffy stuff at the bottom, your heavier stuff kind of along the back of your pack, and then filling in the front and the top with that medium weight stuff, and making sure that things are conveniently placed and that it's balanced side to side so that you're not, walking sideways or feeling it move and shake with every step that you take. So that's the basics of packing your backpack.
Trisha loves this and can't wait to get on the trail soon. Thank you. One question. So if you can't get your tent or your sleeping pad in your backpack, do you have a suggestion of where you could maybe put them?
Yeah, that's a great question. And sometimes I use my foam sleeping bag that's pretty large, a big roll, so it would take up most of my pack if I tried to fit it in. So a lot of packs will have straps down low or straps across the middle or even these straps on the side. So my tent, when I first had it in that black bag, you remember it's kind of a cylinder, I could strap it on the outside here. I recommend trying, if you are strapping this on the outside, again, trying to keep it as compact as possible and in line with your pack. So when possible, go vertical. If you were to have things out wide here, it might bump and snag on trees and that sort of thing. But yes, using straps and extra space on the outside of your pack can be a way to kind of add volume if your pack's a little small for all of your gear. Good question.
Cool.
Any other questions out there? All right, well, thanks for joining us today to learn about how to pack a pack. Thanks to our program sponsor, Subaru, and we look forward to seeing you on Thursday at 1 o'clock for our next Facebook Live Skill Series.